What if I told you that your muscle mass is the most important metabolic organ in your entire body, and that losing it silently drives chronic diseases that many of us face today? By the end of this video, you will know why building and maintaining muscle is so important for your long-term health and how you can actually do it. Welcome to another episode of Your Health Decoded. I'm Rosa. I'm a biomedical scientist specializing in metabolic health. I'm a Mayo Clinic trained health coach, and I'm also the chief scientist at Kima Health. So when people think about muscle mass, they usually think and imagine about being bulky and about bodybuilders and gym fanatics. But muscle is actually the most important metabolic organ inside the body. Muscle is metabolically active. It burns high amounts of glucose, and losing muscle is associated with a slower metabolism. So muscle controls movement, but it also controls energy production and the ability to maintain stable internal conditions. It is also associated with improved hormonal balance, like insulin sensitivity, our leptin, and our cortisol. So muscle is not just about strength, it is the engine that keeps your metabolism running. So what happens when our muscle mass is low? When our muscle mass is low, our metabolism gets slower. So we start burning less calories at rest. What also happens is that this muscle, when it decreases, it gets replaced by fat. And this is usually visceral fat, so the fat that you find around your organs. Here's something important. At the age of 35 onwards, we lose 1 to 2% of our muscle mass per year without any intervention. So by the age of 45, we have lost 10% of our muscle mass. By 55, we've lost 20%. And by 65, we have lost nearly 1/3 of our muscle mass. This is also why many people observe that when they are older, they cannot eat as many things as they could and not gain weight. So when our muscle mass decreases and our blood glucose increases, this sets off a cascade of metabolic dysfunction and increases our chances of developing chronic diseases. So decreased muscle mass is associated with obesity and type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, hypertension, which is also a major risk factor for the development of heart disease, elevated triglycerides and low HDL cholesterol, which is the good cholesterol, and even Alzheimer's disease and autoimmune diseases. So we can see that losing our muscle mass not only compromises our movement and our daily life, but it also affects our long-term health and our longevity. So protecting it is one of the most important interventions we can do to set us up for a long and healthy life. So let's talk about exercise. What type of training is the most effective if you want to start building muscle? The most effective type of training is weightlifting or resistance training. This is one of the most effective ways one can directly increase their levels of muscle mass. But when people hear about weightlifting, they start thinking about gym fanatics, about feeling bulky, and they think that they will wake up one day and be so bulky that they cannot look at themselves, that they look like bodybuilders. But this is actually very difficult to obtain. Requires a lot of time, it requires a lot of effort, it requires a specific schedule of exercises, and it even requires a specific nutrition with high amounts of protein. So it's very difficult to reach that state. If you start lifting weights, what will actually happen is that your muscle mass will start increasing. But if you stop lifting weights, what will happen? Will you lose all of your muscle mass? Studies have shown that when a person reaches a certain level of muscle mass and then stops working out, if this level is sufficient that they've previously reached, when they start working out again, their muscle will have sort of a muscle memory and they will be able to recover their level of muscle pretty quickly. There's another type of exercise that most people haven't done since they were 12 years old. And this is also a very effective way to build muscle mass that's not often talked about. And this type of exercise is sprinting. So when we think about running, the first thing that comes to mind is long distance running with marathon runners, for example. But if you think of a marathon runner, this is someone that is very lean and they don't have high levels of muscle mass because this prolonged running has caused stress and has actually caused catabolism and breaking down of their muscles. On the other hand, if you think of successful sprinters like Usain Bolt, you will observe that they have very high levels of muscle mass and they do appear bulky kind of. So the exercise that helps build this muscle mass is sprinting. And when we talk about sprinting, is maximum exertion through running for 5 up to 30 seconds. But 5 seconds to start is a very good way to start because it's very difficult to achieve 30 seconds. Sprinting is very intense. So sprinting is one of the ways that we can reach our maximum capacity and we can push our body to its limits without risking injury and without overdoing it. So without doing high intensity interval training and without causing too much stress to the body. So if you want to start building muscle mass, what should you do if you're someone that doesn't have any muscle mass at all? So the first thing you should do is start weightlifting. You want to start slowly and make sure that you have a good form. And ideally, you want to do it with the guidance of a professional that can help you have the right form. Because many people, they start working out and then they stop because they get injured after 6 weeks. So they start tennis, they start a sport, or they start weightlifting, and they get so confident, but they do it in the wrong way, and then they quit. So we don't want to get there. So start weightlifting around 2 times per week, and then introduce a sprinting session 1 time per week. You can even do simply 3 sprints in 1 session. So start with 5 seconds and then work your way up if you can to 15 seconds. On the first weeks, for example, you do 1 sprint for 5 seconds, then you allow your body to recover completely, so your heart rate to calm down, your breathing to normalize, and then you start your second sprint. So how often should we be exercising and how much should we be recovering? So exercise is a form of stress for the human body because it pushes our body to restructure the tissues, it pushes our body to its limits. So any type of stress, if it's short term, it can have good effects. But if it's too much, it can have negative effects, in fact. And the biggest benefits from exercise, they come after the workout. They don't come during the workout. They come during the recovery phase. So it's really important to give space to our body and to give this time to recover in order to allow it to restructure the tissues, to build muscle, to restructure the circulatory system, to improve the breathing, our respiratory system, and even our hormonal system, our insulin sensitivity. So we need to allow sufficient recovery. This can be different for everyone depending on their level and how many years they've been exercising. But if someone hasn't been exercising at all, 2 to 3 times of high intensity exercise per week can be the sweet spot. What happens if we over-exercise? When we over-exercise and our body does not have the sufficient energy and fuel in order to support these high levels of exercise, it goes into a survival mode. So our cortisol and our adrenaline spike, and this actually causes a lot of stress to the body and can lead to the opposite effects of what we wanted to happen. It leads to catabolism. So it starts breaking down our skin, it starts breaking down our bones and even our muscle in order to be able to provide energy for this high amount of exercise that we're going through. If you're someone that wants to do high amounts of exercise, don't overdo it, but also ensure that you have an adequate nutrition and recovery in order to prevent this stress system from being triggered. And also a good way to reduce the stress hormones is by walking. Walking can actually help burn the excess adrenaline and help us relax. Even after a long day when we feel stressed or we feel that we're overwhelmed, going for a 30-minute walk can actually boost our energy levels because it burns off the stress hormones and improves our psychological function in turn. So what should we eat in order to build muscle mass? Well, the foundation of building muscle mass is protein. And many people eat much less protein than they should. What we should aim for, also depending on our age and our levels of exercise, is 1.5 up to 2.2 grams of protein per body weight, per kilogram of body weight. And you should calculate the ideal amount of protein based on your ideal body weight, not on the one that you have right now. So if you're 100 kilograms, but your ideal body weight is 80 kilograms, you should calculate your protein intake based on the 80 kilograms. And what are the best protein sources that we can opt for? The best protein source is red meat. This is because it has highly bioavailable protein, and it also has all the nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that our body needs in order to turn this protein into muscle. And it also increases our metabolism. It improves the way our metabolism functions. Many people make the mistake of trying to get a lot of protein through chicken because chicken is very lean. It has low levels of fat, so they go for the lean protein, and it's also much cheaper than red meat. However, the problem with chicken is that the quality of the meat gets affected largely by what the chicken consumes. And the chickens that we have available in the cities and in the current century that we live in, they eat corn, they eat soy, and they are also exposed to antibiotic therapy. So the quality of the chicken is not very good. And another point is that chicken has high amounts of omega-6. Omega-6 is a fatty acid, so the building blocks of fat, that is pro-inflammatory. It promotes inflammation. On the other hand, we have omega-3, which is the anti-inflammatory. So in nature, you want to have a balance. For every one omega-6 that you want to have one omega-3 to create a balance between pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory mediators. However, our modern diets, they expose us to very high levels of omega-6, and then they promote the chronic diseases that we have, the metabolic dysfunctions. So by consuming large amounts of chicken, which most of the fatty acids that they have, around 30 to 40% of their meat is omega. So this can be pro-inflammatory, and it is something that we want to avoid. So instead, we want to opt for ruminant animals like red meat through beef, goat, lamb, sheep, buffalo. We also want to avoid any ultra-processed foods that are labeled high in protein, like protein bars or protein puddings, because these are considered ultra-processed, which means that they have added ingredients, added chemicals that are made in the lab, and they would not normally be found in our kitchen. These are sweeteners, colorings, additives, which have negative effects over our health. They increase our risk of more than 32 diseases. They can increase our risk of autoimmune disease and even rare diseases. There's a large body of evidence showing the negative effects of ultra-processed foods. So if you want to eat high amounts of proteins, you want to take it from natural sources. What about supplements? Do they help us increase our muscle mass? So one of the most popular supplements that people take in order to increase their muscle mass is creatine. Creatine is a compound that is made from amino acids. It is also naturally found in food, but in not sufficient quantities. Creatine is actually one of the most well-researched supplements that we have, and it has very little side effects like minor digestive issues or a little bit of water retention, and it can have great effects over increasing our muscle mass. It can also improve our metabolism and increase our energy levels. So 3 to 5 grams of creatine is a good starting point, but again, you want to optimize this based on your personal exercise levels and on your medical history and your blood tests. So if you're experiencing digestive issues when you consume creatine, what you can do is split the dose throughout the day to allow it to be absorbed more easily. And if you have water retention, of course, this is something that also produces the bigger looking muscles that many people want to go for. But if you're having water retention, some good electrolytes and sufficient water intake can help largely prevent this. What about protein supplements? So if we're taking protein supplements, we first of all want to ensure that they are good quality and they're free of any additives, any sweeteners. So whey protein and beef protein can be a good option. But for people that have an average amount of exercise, so they're not reaching the level of athletes, or they can meet their protein requirements through their diet, you want to prioritize getting your protein through the diet. However, if you're someone who is metabolically healthy, you have high amounts of exercise throughout the week, and you're struggling just to fulfill it simply from your diet, protein powder can be a good option. But for most people, the advice is that try to take the protein from the diet, from natural sources, and then go for protein if you cannot. In addition to protein and creatine, good options for supplements to support muscle mass are a good quality multivitamin, vitamin D, and magnesium. This will help support energy, metabolism, and increasing your muscle mass. So let's put everything together. You want to maintain and increase your muscle mass because it's very important not only for your movement and your longevity, but also for your long-term health by preventing chronic diseases, diabetes, and even Alzheimer's disease. So start with movement. Daily walking is ideal to burn off excess stress hormones and prevent catabolism. Then we want to incorporate resistance training and sprinting 1 time per week. So the resistance training can be 2 to 3 times per week, and then the sprinting 1 time per week. And then to support this, we want to have a nutrient-dense diet with adequate protein from 1.5 to 2.2 grams per kilogram. And then we want to opt for supplements based on our unique needs. So we can opt for creatine, then multivitamin, magnesium, and vitamin D. And then in certain cases that we cannot meet the protein requirements, we opt for whey protein and beef protein in clean forms. Then we also want to prioritize sufficient sleep and sufficient recovery to allow our body to gain all of the benefits from the exercise that we have done. And finally, be patient. If you're starting from scratch, know that this process takes probably years, 1 to 2 years, to see significant results and build your muscle mass. So start slowly, be consistent, have a good diet, have a good exercise plan, and you will eventually get there. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos, and I'll see you in the next one.